Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise. Al-Azhar is the greatest of the Muslim institutes of the religious knowledge. It undertakes the mission of preserving, promoting and publishing the leading materials from the Muslim heritage. It is also committed to assuming the responsibility of delivering the true message of Islam to the entire humanity around the world. It works on achieving human progress and guaranteeing security, stability and self-comfort for all the human beings in this life and in the life to come. I'm honored today to be having with me Dr. Ahmed Ezaby, the Professor of Linguistics and the Head of the English Department, Faculty of Languages and Translation at Al-Azhar University. Dr. Ahmed, thank you very much for being with us today on Nile Cruise.
Thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Ahmed, let's first talk about the languages that the students here learn in Al-Azhar.
Yeah, the Faculty of Languages and Translation has several languages taught at this institute since it was established. But from time to time, new languages are added. At the present time, we have 15 different languages in different departments. We have 6 European languages: English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Greek. And we have 5 African languages: Asian languages: Turkish, Hebrew, Urdu, Chinese, and Persian. We have also 4 African languages, namely Swahili, Hausa, Zulu, and Fulani. These are the languages taught now at the Faculty of Languages and Translation.
Yes, what about the importance of teaching the Islamic materials in 15 different languages for the students coming from all over the world?
All right. Since 1962, when Al-Azhar was developed, new faculties and new disciplines were added to the traditional Islamic studies that used to be taught exclusively at Al-Azhar at that time. Now we have Faculty of Medicine, Agriculture, Engineering, and so on, including Faculty of Languages and Translation. The purpose of adding these schools to our university and the difference between them and other similar universities in Egypt and other countries is that students at all these faculties who study non-specialized Islamic disciplines, like languages, for example, study their specialized area of study in addition to Islamic studies. The purpose has been to provide the society with graduates who are knowledgeable about Islam and at the same time professional in their field of study. Faculty of Languages and Translation is not an exception. The purpose has been for the graduates to be knowledgeable in Islam in addition to their fluency and master of foreign languages. That's basically the situation.
Sir, Quran is written in Arabic, and it was taught to Prophet Muhammad, and peace be upon him, also in Arabic. So are the students from different countries around the world, of course the Muslims one, are obliged to learn Arabic in order to recite Quran?
If you're talking about international students who come from different countries to study at Al-Azhar, yes, they have to study most of the material in Arabic, and they have to memorize the whole Quran if they are specialized in Islamic studies, and to memorize a great part of the Quran if they are otherwise specialized in other non-specialized areas like agriculture or engineering or medicine. We have 33,000 international students at Al-Azhar University, and that's a big number of students. They come from 107 countries all over the world, and they uh, the, most of them study Islamic studies. I mean, very few of them come to study languages or medicine or engineering, but they come to study at Al-Azhar and go back to be spiritual leaders, imams in their home countries.
Doctor, you've said that since 1962 the development of Azhar was evolving and still evolving. What about the phases of development since 1962 regarding the goals and the targets of Al-Azhar University and your faculty since 1962 and until 2018?
Right. The mission of Al-Azhar has always been to promote the real, true image of Islam and correct misconceptions. At the Faculty of Languages and Translation, we have a special department called Department of Islamic Studies in Foreign Languages. In addition to the traditional departments, I mean, let's take the English department as an example. The English department has two branches, two divisions. One of English literature, which is the same as those in faculties of arts, for example, and one of simultaneous translation, simultaneous interpretation, as we call it, which graduates translators, written and simultaneous interpreters. But the Department of Islamic Studies includes students from different departments who study language, their target language, and study Islamic studies. They study Islamic disciplines, Islamic areas in the target language. So this Department of Islamic Studies now has 6 languages, basically European languages: English, French, German, and Urdu, Swahili, and Chinese. And we're about to add Spanish and Portuguese. The president of Portugal is now visiting Egypt, meeting President Sisi, and meeting the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, and they are planning to start a new department of Portuguese language at our school. The purpose of Department of Islamic Studies in Foreign Languages is to graduate imams who are supposed to travel to their target countries to teach Islam and to promote the real values of Islam as seen by Al-Azhar, the moderate vision of Al-Azhar, moderate mission and message of Al-Azhar in those countries. But honestly, not all of them are sent abroad. We only take the distinguished students who can do the mission properly. But some of them work locally as translators or as in different fields of Islamic studies, which have to do with foreign languages.
Sir, what are the Islamic studies that students come here to memorize? It's only related to Sunnah and Islam, or they study other fields?
Yes, those who are specialized in Islamic studies, they only study Quran, Sunnah, and other related fields. But in the Faculty of Languages and Translation, for example, they are meant to study literature of the target language. They are meant to study the cultures. And as you may guess, being knowledgeable about the culture of the target language is very important for an imam or for a missionary to go abroad and to be able to communicate with people and disseminate the message of Islam in the way that suits the target audience there.
What about the main role of the Islamic Research Academy and the Institute, the ACT?
The Islamic Research?
Yes, Academy and the ACT. What about the main role of that?
They aim at dealing basically with misconceptions that are unfortunately everywhere in the world now, particularly in the West. And Islamic research centers are meant to deal with these problems and to communicate with Muslim communities living abroad, to make them stay in connection with their culture, with their religion, and to provide them with the true image of Islam, and to teach them how to deal with their societies and to adapt themselves to the communities and societies they live in a way that does not contradict the values of Islam.
Sir, can you mention some of these misconceptions about Islam that should be clarified?
Yes. The most important misconception about Islam is that Islam is a religion of fanaticism and terrorism, which is absolutely untrue. One of our missions at Al-Azhar Center of Translation is translating books which promote the real nature of Islam and the peaceful nature of Islam. And books are selected carefully in order to reflect that truth and in order to address the Western mentality, for example, in European languages, or the target language mentality in the way that suits them and corrects the misconceptions all over the world.
So upon releasing those books, the translated books in the countries of the West, what about the reaction of the people, the reaction of the non-Muslims towards the translated books?
Well, we have established the Al-Azhar Center of Translation only a year and a half ago, and I'm not sure we have any reaction yet from the target readers. But the books are sent abroad through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to embassies, for example, to Islamic centers abroad, to public libraries, because we address mainly the non-Muslims, not just the Muslims, in order to show them the true image of Islam. We are on the way to measure the reaction of those people. But in the process of translation, we have native speakers who take a look at our translations before they are published and see how they react to this and then respond to their needs or adapt the texts to the way that suits the mentality of the target readers.
Sir, how the translators are being chosen?
Most of our translators are from the Faculty of Languages and Translation, from different departments. And actually we have now 13 languages at Al-Azhar Center of Translation. We translate from Arabic into 13 languages, basic books that promote the true image of Islam. And we also translate from those languages into Arabic significant books that we need to introduce to the Arab reader. These languages include 6 European languages: English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Greek. 7 other languages: Turkish, Hebrew, Urdu, Pacho, Persian, Indonesian, and Swahili. And soon we are adding Chinese and Russian to the center, and later the language of Thailand, the Bengali language, the Burmese, and the Malawi. The translators are selected carefully from the professors who are experienced in translation, particularly translation of religious texts. And we have translators and revisers, those who revise the translation, with the professors with more experience. And we have also native speakers who take a look at translated works before they are published.
So, Doctor, how do you see the future of Al-Azhar University, the future of the faculty and the institutes of linguistics regarding Al-Azhar University in the future? How do you see them?
We are aiming at including at our school, for example, most of, if not all, the what we may call Muslim languages. We mean by that languages that are used in Muslim countries or are used extensively by Muslims in communities living abroad. That's why from time to time, not every year, but from time to time we add more languages to the school where students study the literature and the culture. And slowly, when we have experienced professors at these languages, we start to add these languages to the Department of Islamic Studies in Foreign Languages.
So what's the preferable language after Arabic for translators?
Which language?
The preferable one.
Well,
the easiest one for translators, and they prefer
at
it.
our school, Faculty of Languages and Translation, you mean?
No.
Well, English is a very significant language, as being spoken in most of the languages of the world. People speak it, if not as their mother tongue, as a second language. That's why there is special interest in English language and in translating most of the material produced by Al-Azhar Center of Translation into English. We do not only translate books, but we translate documents that are produced by the Al-Azhar Sheikhdom, by the Grand Imam, his announcements, his condemnations, his conferences, and so on. Most of these materials are translated into English, basically, sometimes in some other languages. So
Yes.
if this answers your question, it's English language.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and giving them the books and releasing the books online for them to be reading, would it be easier? And when can we do that?
Well, actually, we have Al-Azhar Marsad or Observatory, which now uses 13 languages, 13 different languages of the world, to receive messages and answer fatwas in these languages. I'm sure that they are adding languages. They are planning to add more languages in order to cover the majority of the Muslim audience all over the world. But English and French, for example, are very important languages because, you know, in the education of most of the countries of the world, they study European language, basically English, French, Spanish. That's why these European languages are basic in communicating with the audience of Marsad al-Azhar. I think they are doing a great job, and they are gaining a wider audience every day and receive fatwas from Muslims all over the world. Not only those whose official language is something rather than English. Most of them come in English, French, and Spanish.
Well, Dr. Ahmed Ezaby, Professor of Linguistics and Head of the English Department, Faculty of Languages and Translation, Al-Azhar University, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. And we will be taking a quick break, so stay tuned.